Saving a shipping fee is often the exact reason you bought something you did not need. We have all been there. You are $15 away from unlocking free shipping, and suddenly, paying $7.99 for delivery feels like a personal insult. It feels like a stupid tax. So what do? You scour the site, desperately looking for a filler item. Maybe it is a novelty ice cube tray, or a pack of socks you will never wear, just to push your total over the line. Society and a decade of loss leader marketing from massive e-commerce companies have trained us to view this as a savvy move. We have been conditioned to believe that free shipping is a fundamental consumer right, and that paying for logistics is simply throwing money away. We mistakenly apply a mental accounting framework where we see shipping as an unrecoverable penalty, getting nothing for something. Meanwhile, we view physical goods, no matter how useless they actually are, as tangible assets. We tell ourselves we are getting something for something. But this societal conditioning is a trap. It has successfully masked the fact that free shipping is actually a mathematically engineered extraction mechanism, specifically designed by these companies to maximize your average order value. Before we run the exact numbers on this extraction mechanism, I want to invite you to subscribe. Hitting that button is genuinely the highest return on investment for your time if you want to understand the hidden math behind everyday spending. So let us look at the mathematical reality using current financial variables. Conventional wisdom fails because it optimizes for a psychological feeling of winning rather than objective cash flow and net worth accumulation. Imagine you want to buy a specific item you actually need. The base item costs $35. The shipping fee is $7.99. But the free shipping threshold is set at $50. You need $15 of filler to hit the mark. If you just pay the stupid tax and eat the shipping cost, your cash flow out is $42.99. If you play the smart consumer and add the $15 filler item to get free shipping, your cash flow out is $50 flat. The reality here is brutal. The consumer who just saved $8 in shipping actually suffered a net negative cash flow of $7.01. You paid $7.01 out of pocket to acquire an item you never originally wanted, needed, or intended to buy. You increased your capital deployed by 16% for absolutely zero increase in actual utility. You just paid a massive premium to avoid a completely standard logistical fee. We have to ask why highly intelligent people routinely make this mathematically illiterate choice. It comes down to behavioral economics and something called the zero price effect. Behavioral economists have proven that zero is not just another price, it is an emotional hot button. When a service like shipping is presented as free, our brains experience a massive surge of dopamine and a disproportionate decrease in our perception of risk. We will gladly overpay for the physical components of a transaction if the delivery of that transaction is priced at zero. Combine this with our natural loss aversion, where we feel the pain of a loss roughly twice as intensely as the joy of a gain. Paying that $7.99 shipping fee registers in the brain as a pure loss. It feels like a penalty. But buying a useless $15 item registers as an exchange of value. You are trading cash for a physical good. Your brain actually prefers to waste $15 on a terrible trade than to lose $8 on a fee. You are optimizing for an emotional dopamine hit rather than protecting your objective cash flow. And retailers are fully aware of this exact biological vulnerability. They exploit it every single time you log on. Wealth optimizers do not rely on willpower to fight these dopamine hits. They rely on systems. To break the free shipping threshold trap, you need to implement a logical framework. Step 1 is the marginal cost-benefit equation. Before you add a filler item to hit a threshold, run a binary check. Ask yourself if the cost of the filler item is strictly greater than the cost of shipping. If it is, pay for the shipping immediately. Protect your cash flow above all else. Think of it like the toll road versus the detour. Refusing to pay for shipping by buying filler items is the exact equivalent of driving 30 miles out of your way to avoid a $3 toll road. You successfully avoided the toll, but you burned $8 in gas and an hour of your precious time. Step 2 is the 72-hour cart quarantine. To defeat the dopamine loop triggered by the zero price effect, mandate a 72-hour holding period for any digital cart that does not contain essential consumables like groceries or medicine. Just leave it sitting there. If the item you wanted was not actually worth paying the $7.99 shipping fee on Tuesday, you will logically realize you do not even need the item at all by Friday. The artificial urgency completely evaporates. If you think losing a few dollars on a filler item is bad, wait until you see how premium subscriptions are quietly draining hundreds of dollars from your cash flow every single year. Most people stop at the threshold trap, but we need to talk about the premium membership trap. We are talking about VIP e-commerce subscriptions like Amazon Prime or Walmart Plus. The standard advice here is almost universally positive. We are told that paying $140 a year for a premium membership is a savvy financial move because the free shipping pays for itself after just a few orders. It sounds logical. You pay an upfront fee, and the friction of shipping costs is permanently removed from your life. Society treats these memberships almost like a utility bill that you simply must have to function in the modern economy. But remember, retailers did not invent these memberships as a favor to you. They weaponized logistics to fundamentally alter your purchasing behavior over time. The illusion is that you are buying convenience. The reality is that you are paying an upfront fee to lower your own financial defenses. Once you have paid for the membership, your brain wants to maximize its utility. You fall into the casino buffet fallacy. You overconsume just to get your money's worth. Let us evaluate the brutal math on a standard $140 per year e-commerce subscription. At a standard shipping rate of roughly $7.99, you must place about 18 separate orders per year just to break even on the membership fee. If you normally place 12 orders a year for things you genuinely need, the membership is automatically a net negative on your cash flow. But here is the real math of induced demand. Retailer data proves that frictionless, free shipping increases a consumer's purchasing frequency by roughly 150%. Instead of buying the 12 items a year you actually need, the complete removal of shipping friction induces you to place 40 orders a year. You start ordering a single bottle of shampoo or a random kitchen gadget simply because it will arrive at your door tomorrow for free. If your average order value on these induced purchases is $30, the 28 extra orders you placed simply because shipping was free cost you $840 in drained cash flow that year. You spent nearly $1,000 extra, not because you needed the goods, but because the delivery mechanism was absolutely frictionless. The retailer happily ate the cost of shipping because they extracted an additional $840 of top-line revenue from your wallet. By removing the friction, they created artificial demand that never would have existed otherwise. This is where conventional wisdom says to save on fees. But I am actually going to tell you to happily pay for standard shipping. Here is why. When you hold a premium membership, you are fighting a losing psychological battle against induced demand. Induced demand is a concept from urban planning where building more highway lanes actually creates more traffic because driving becomes temporarily easier. In behavioral finance, removing the friction of shipping fees creates massive artificial consumer demand. The membership model relies entirely on your sunk cost fallacy. Because you already paid for the year, every time you press buy without seeing a shipping fee, your brain registers a tiny false victory. But high income means absolutely nothing if your net worth bucket has holes in it. These induced e-commerce demands are invisible holes at the bottom of your financial bucket that prevent the water level from ever rising. You bleed cash flow $20 at a time, completely anesthetized to the damage because the shipping was free. The psychology of the subscription masks the frequency of your purchases. When you pay a la carte for shipping, The friction forces you to bundle your needs. The membership destroys that discipline. It encourages hyper-frequent, low-value transactions that slowly but surely drain your deployable capital month after month. To stop this invisible drain, you need to conduct a brutal break-even analysis on your memberships, treating them exactly like a corporate CFO treats overhead. The protocol here is simple. Cancel the membership for 90 days. During this trial period, whenever you truly need something, pay for standard shipping out of pocket. At the end of the 90 days, compare the total shipping fees you paid against the prorated cost of the membership. You will almost universally find that paying a la carte shipping costs significantly less, purely because the friction of the fee suppresses your induced demand. And if you want a system to track this mathematically without messy spreadsheets, this is exactly why my team built Cash Class, the official Tom Talks Money web app. We designed it to be the bridge between learning the math on this channel and actually doing it in your real life. There are absolutely no invasive bank logins required. You just upload your CSV statement, and the platform helps you visualize your cash flow and identify exactly where these microtransactions are bleeding your net worth. It also includes our free Budgeting 101 course. Just click the link at the very top of the description to start your 14-day free trial on the web, and let the software show you if that premium Prime membership is actually mathematically justified, or if it is just an emotional crutch. We will get to the exact utility rule you should use for any future threshold purchases in a minute. But first, we need to expose how the retailer actually wins this game. There is a deeply ingrained myth that if we just manipulate our carts perfectly, we can somehow outsmart a trillion-dollar logistics network. We think we are beating the algorithm when we find the exact $15 item to cross the line. But retailers do not pick their free shipping thresholds randomly. They are not pulling a $50 requirement out of thin air. These thresholds are meticulously set by complex algorithms that analyze millions of transactions to calculate your precise breaking point. You have to understand that the modern e-commerce landscape is a giant game theory simulation, and the retailer holds the dominant strategy. They have asymmetric information. They know exactly how much pain you are willing to endure in the form of shipping fees, and they know exactly what price point will trigger your loss aversion. When you start playing the game by trying to hit their artificial threshold, you have already lost. You are playing on their board, under their rules, and they have already priced in every single move you could possibly make before you even load the homepage. Let us break down the mathematical reality of the retail margin trap. Algorithms set the free shipping threshold roughly 15 to 20% above the median average order value. So if the average consumer naturally puts $40 of goods in their cart based on actual organic need, the retailer will strategically set the shipping threshold at $50. Now let us look at the $15 filler item you added to bridge that gap. The retailer's gross margin on that filler item is likely around 60%. That means the random gadget only cost the retailer $6 to manufacture and stock. By psychologically forcing you to stretch your cart to $50, they successfully extracted $15 in cash from you. That $15 easily covers their $8 logistics cost to ship the box, and they still made a higher net profit than if you had just kept your cart at $35 and paid for shipping. You lose the game the absolute moment you alter your cart to meet their algorithmic threshold. They engineered a scenario where you willingly handed over higher margin revenue just to avoid a fee that costs them significantly less than the margin they extracted. It is a brilliant mathematical maneuver that holds your primary needed item hostage behind a cleverly disguised shipping fee wall. The psychological justification we use to defend this behavior is the assumption of easy returns. Consumers routinely buy excess items to hit thresholds, confidently assuming they will just return whatever they do not want. But there is a hidden penalty here that I call the return friction tax. In today's economy, the era of truly free and frictionless returns is largely over. Because logistics costs have exploded, major retailers have instituted restocking fees of $3 to $5, or aggressive drop-off penalties if you do not bring the item to a very specific, inconvenient location. The trap relies entirely on the time decay of your intent. When you make the purchase, you are highly motivated. But by the time the box arrives, the friction of repackaging the item, printing a label, and driving to a drop-off point starts to weigh on you. This friction intentionally leads to a massive failure to return rate, often exceeding 30%. You tell yourself you will handle it this weekend, and then next weekend, until the return window quietly closes. Those filler items become permanent deadweight loss sitting in the back of your closet. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. We will spend an hour hunting for a filler item to save $8, but we will not spend 20 minutes to get our money back. This brings us to the final optimization protocol. If you absolutely must add an item to hit a threshold, perhaps because you are buying bulk non-perishables, you must apply the 66% utility rule. The rule is strictly defined. The added item must have a 100% guarantee of being consumed or utilized within 60 days. We are talking about toothpaste, furnace filters, or dog food. If the item is even slightly speculative, like a shirt you think you might wear, its utility value for this equation is statistically 0. Do not buy it. Now look at the massive opportunity cost of wasted capital if you ignore these rules. If a consumer falls for the threshold trap twice a month, wasting $15 each time, and falls for the membership trap, wasting $840 a year in induced demand, they bleed over $1,000 annually in lost cash flow. If that $1,000 is instead invested annually into the S&P 500 at a 10% average yield, over 20 years, that free shipping optimization costs the consumer over $64,000 in unbuilt net worth. Under the rule of 72, money doubles roughly every 7 years. You are literally trading $64,000 of future wealth for cheap plastic filler items and the tragic illusion of outsmarting a global logistics network. Most people stop here and lose $64,000 in compounding wealth. The step they miss is understanding how all these microtransactions attack your total baseline. Let us step back and look at the bigger picture. True wealth optimizers understand that income is just the hose, but net worth is the bucket. You can have a massive stream of income flowing in, but if you allow these psychological traps to poke invisible holes in the bottom, you will never accumulate the capital required for total financial freedom. Free shipping is the perfect example of a societal norm that feels harmless, but mathematically sabotages your compounding base. Net worth is only ever generated from retained cash flow. Every single dollar you divert to a filler item or an induced purchase on a premium subscription is a dollar that is permanently removed from your compounding base. The next time you are staring at a digital checkout screen and that progress bar tells you that you are only $12 away from a free delivery, I want you to pause. Protect your cash flow. Be willing to pay for the shipping when the objective math demands it. Do not let your aversion to a tiny fee cost you your future financial independence. If you have made it this far and this analytical approach to everyday money makes sense to you, consider clicking the join button right below this video to become one of the optimizers. Becoming a channel member is the absolute best way to support the deep research that goes into these dossiers. As an optimizer, you get priority replies to your comments, which is where I spend a lot of my time answering your specific math questions. And you get custom sketch badges next to your name, so I always know who our most dedicated wealth builders are. It is a small community of people who actually want to look at the brutal math behind personal finance, rather than blindly following standard societal advice. We would love to have you on board as we continue to tear down these financial myths week by week. It keeps this channel running and allows us to keep digging into the behavioural tricks that retail giants use against the average consumer. To wrap this up, I want to turn the floor over to you for a little bit of peer review and data gathering. The comments section on these videos has become one of the most valuable resources on the channel, precisely because you all share your actual experiences. I want you to head down there right now and let me know the most ridiculous filler item you have ever bought just to hit a free shipping threshold? Was it a bag of gummy bears? A weird spatula? Drop it in the comments below and let us know how much it cost versus what the shipping fee would have been. Analysing our past mistakes is the first step toward building the systems that will protect our wealth tomorrow. Do not forget to check out the link in the description for your free trial of Cash Class to start tracking your own cash flow on the web. Keep optimising your systems, protect your compounding base, and I will see you in the next dossier.